Here's the honest truth. Success is not about the age or stage of your equine business. It's about knowing where you want to go and using that vision of success as your filter for every decision along the way. Because when you have a clear vision and a system for measuring your personal version of success, then you can make confident, strategic decisions for your equine business. And that's what we do inside of Take the Reins, my one-on-one coaching program. It's a personalized one-on-one business coaching program for equestrian entrepreneurs ready to ditch the marketing overwhelm, overcome the roadblocks holding you back, and grow an equine business that meets your version of success. Friends, you know this about me. I am not here to promise you millions of followers or viral moments because that's for influencers. But if you want to connect with the right people and build a business that works for you, then I'm your coach. I have 8 slots available right now, and once they fill, I will not be opening slots again until 2026. So I invite you to head to stormlily.com/reins, get all the information, apply today, and let's work together to build your dream equine business. Hello there, and welcome to the How to Market Your Horse Business podcast. I'm so glad you're joining me here today. As you've likely guessed by now, my name is Denise Alvarez. I get to host you here on the podcast. And before we dive into all the social media things today, or I shouldn't say all, a little deep dive into the social media strategy that you're going to want to have moving forward, I will quickly introduce myself just in case for new friends, and then we'll dive right in. Now, as I said, my name is Denise, and through my business, Storm Lily Marketing, I get to help dream-chasing horse business owners to ditch the overwhelm, get the clarity they've been craving, and grow their equine business in a way that meets their definition of success. Now, I do this primarily through business and marketing coaching, and then through education such as this podcast, and I have some online learning resources for you as well. All that I do, friends, is so that you as an equestrian entrepreneur can be out doing what it is you love to do and how you serve the equine industry. So whether that is hands-on with horses, hands-on with people, behind the computer, with the camera, wherever it is that you're serving the equine industry, my aim and my heart is to help you do more of that wonderful work. And so here on the podcast specifically, you'll get a mix of step-by-step strategies, essential how-tos, and entrepreneurial mindset shifts that will help you not only see what's possible for your business, but I'm also here to guide you through that process so you can make it happen. And today specifically, as I said, we're diving into social media. Now, if you've joined me here on the podcast for a while, you know that the past few weeks, we've spent some time addressing some key mindset blocks and distractions that I know you are facing. And one of the things that we talked about in episode 186, so just prior to this episode, is how a mix of mindset work and strategy is required in order to grow your equine business. And so today we're going to dive into your social media strategy. Now, you have probably felt some of these shifts on social media as well. You've probably noticed that it's changed. And some of you would say for the better, and some of you may say for the worse, depending on your personal experience. I would say I'm grateful that the days of requiring or feeling like you're required to have a dancing video to get views are gone. I don't know if you remember that. By this time, it's probably been 4 years, but it stayed for a very long time. And some of them are still there. But when videos really started to take off on social media, as you know, TikTok was a big part of that. And people were just dancing all the time, good or bad, right? So thankfully, that has shifted. But there are some other things that have shifted as well. And so what I'm sharing with you today are actually not just my observations at all. I am pulling this for you from a content benchmarks report that Sprout Social put together. They analyzed more than 3 billion messages over 1 million public social media profiles. And they also did consumer surveys across the United States, UK, and Australia. And from all that information, they compiled their insights into a report. And so I'm taking some of their insights and sharing that with you, and then sharing how you can apply what we are seeing into your equine business social media strategy. Okay, so we're first going to look at what has changed, what has shifted, and then we're going to look at what does that mean for you. Because in case you're new to the podcast, my goal is always for you to walk away with something actionable so that you can make the most of your time. Like, I am so grateful that you are here listening. And my hope, my prayer, my aim is always that at the end of the episode, you have a way to make a difference in your business. You are equipped and you're taking action, because action is where the clarity is going to come. Now, it's not where the perfection is going to come. It's not where the results are always going to be promised, but you're going to get clarity. And from that, you can keep taking action. And that consistent action, that is what brings results. Okay? And that's my hope, my prayer for you. All right, so let's dive in. Now, as always, I will have the highlights of these on the show notes on my website. So if you go to Storm Lily, which is stormlily.com/187 for episode 187, then you will get the highlights of what I'm about to share with you today. All right, and I've also linked to the report. If you're someone who wants to do a deep dive into the report, you're more than welcome to do that. I will link to the source report there as well. All right, let's dive in. What has changed recently in social media? Number one, originality matters more. Consumers, customers, clients, potential customers and clients, they are craving real. Especially even more recently, given the rise of AI that is touching nearly every facet of our lives, from the bank to almost every website you get onto that has a customer support chat, to images that you maybe are questioning, content on social media that seems too good to be true. All of these things are making, or are, I don't want to say making, all of these things are highlighting our desire for real. We want real people. And that extends to you as a business, right? They're looking to see if you solve a real problem, if you have a real solution. Okay. So they're craving real. Now, in the same line, I'm going to give you something that's also come up in the report. And they talked about trending audio and video and how people can really capitalize on that. But if it doesn't seem that you've capitalized on it quick enough and you're really, truly just copying all of the other things that have gone on, but it's not original to you, then believe it or not, what they're seeing is that actually isn't going to work as well for you. So, for example, this week, last week, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce got engaged. You all probably know this. But what was interesting from a marketing perspective is the social media impact of that afterwards, and the posts that were jumping on and turning her content, her post into a trend. And it happened quickly. And if businesses were acting fast and coming up with something that was cute, on trend, and original to their brand, like spoke to their brand, spoke to their people well, then that's when it went well. People saw a good result. But the ones that were too late and who were just really copying what they were seeing but didn't have an original twist to it, those did not perform as well. So again, I bring that up to say, when you're looking at trending audio and things that are trending and trying to duplicate that and get onto the trends, it can work, but what they're saying is make sure that you are also giving an original twist for your brand and your audience to connect to. All right, so we talked about originality. Number two, influencer marketing is here to stay. Influencer marketing, when it comes to social media, is not a trend. Now, the other thing to note here is that influencer marketing really just means collaborations that are aligned, right? So it could be affiliate marketing for your business. And I actually have a podcast episode that will be coming up next month, and 4 or 5 episodes away, specific to affiliate marketing. And I've already done 2 episodes specific to influencer marketing with a guest. And so I will link to those in the show notes. But if you go to episode 137 and 138, you have an episode specific to what influencers need to know about influencer marketing, and then one that's specific to what brands need to know about influencer marketing. So I encourage you to check those out. But the key here, really, when it comes to influencer marketing, is aligned collaborations. They work well not because of follower numbers, but because you have an engaged audience, or the people you want to work with have an engaged audience. And oftentimes they're already using your products or services, or they're aligned with your products and services. So influencer marketing is a big one. I'm not doing a deep dive here. I want you to go listen to those podcast episodes, but I thought it was interesting that they highlighted that this is not a fade or a fad that is going to fade away. This is here to stay. All right, the next thing I saw in the report is that customer engagement is paramount. You've heard me talk about this before, and I love that they brought this out. Posting alone, this is exactly what they said, okay? Posting alone cannot earn you brand loyalty. Only genuine engagement can. In a crowded social space, one-to-one interactions are what set brands apart and create lasting connections. I think this is so important to pull out because oftentimes people are focused on the views, the shares, the followers, right? And every follow is a person. And if as a business you can remember that and engage with them, that can be the difference maker. Okay. Another thing they said that I thought was brilliant was comments, mentions, DMs are not just conversation starters. They are the consumer's go-to channels for customer service, and brands that ignore them risk losing business. And you guys, I see this all the time with equine businesses. I will go visit a page and I will see people have commented on their posts and on their videos, and there is no engagement back to them. And if you're going to create content, you're inviting engagement, you need to be in there engaging with that. Okay. This is interesting. 73% of social users say that they will buy from a competitor if a brand does not respond on social. So those things matter. Those comments matter. Those messages, they all matter. Okay. All right. Let's move over to the last point I want to bring out from this report, which is quality over quantity. All right. Specifically, this is what they said. Social platforms are reaching peak saturation, and posting for the sake of posting only creates noise. Instead, the best brands will craft truly original identities and prioritize engagement over talking at their audiences. This is so key. So often, we are guilty of talking at the audience, and instead, this is your permission to focus on quality. They're seeing that consumers crave content that's relatable, authentic, entertaining, and for them, that proves that quality outweighs quantity. It's not just about how often you're posting. It's about the quality of your content. So posting less does not mean you're doing less. It just means that making every post, every interaction, and every partnership more purposeful. Here's what they said in the report. Success is not going to be measured by how often you post, but how well you connect. Whether through human-centric storytelling, personalized customer engagement, or strategic influencer collaborations, brands that listen will adapt and innovate and then thrive. Guys, this is a really, really big takeaway that I want you to hear. And we're going to talk about how we can apply these in your business. But I just want to remind you what these 4 shifts are that they've been seeing, right? Originality is key. Influencer marketing is here to stay. Customer engagement is paramount, and quality over quantity when it comes to posting. So knowing these things, what do we do? How do you apply these changes to help you to market your equine business on social media? Well, I've given you 4 shifts. So now let's look at 4 takeaways that you can apply to your equine business. First, permission to post less. They also said social marketers are working overtime trying to feed an insatiable appetite for content. but more posts do not always translate to greater impact. And especially for you guys, as an equine business, this is so important because yes, people are online, people are scrolling, they are consuming a ton of content. So rather than just giving them more noise, more stuff, why not create something that actually is going to speak to them, that's actually going to add value to them? So put some thought into your content. This is permission for you to, instead of sitting down and spending 20 minutes coming up with 5 post ideas so you can post 5 days a week, what if you spent that 20 minutes creating 2 or 3 posts that were really good and had really good potential to engage with your people and go beyond the surface level, right? So that means for some of you, some of the simple quote unquote content that you've been creating, 5 things to do here, or, like the simple educational type things, those can be helpful and build trust when done well. But there are so many of those nowadays. And so I want to encourage you to have some posts that go beyond that surface level content. Go a little bit deeper. So, for example, rather than just saying, this is my philosophy, talk about why it's so core to your program, why it's so core to what you do, why you believe what it is that you do. How does it align with you and what you value as a business owner, a trainer, a coach, an instructor, an author, a photographer, whatever it is that you're doing? Talk about those things that matter to you. You can do it less. You can create content less, but that doesn't mean you don't want to spend the time to create content that really matters. Okay, the next one is to be human. Focus on creating content that, as they said, is relatable, authentic, and entertaining. Now, again, especially in the world of AI, where we talked about this, we are questioning everything. Permission to be human is actually good news if you have felt that everything out that you put out there has to be polished. Scrappy, spur of the moment, and real has a place in your social media strategy. So that's the good thing, right? It doesn't all have to be polished. Now, is there a place for good branding? Absolutely. And also, when it comes to how consumers are responding on social media, remember that human relatable element matters. So when we talk about relatable, I want you to think of it in 2 ways, okay? Number 1, content that's relatable to you, meaning it makes you more human. It helps them to be able to relate to you, to feel like you get them, you understand them, you guys are in the same community, content that's going to do that, relatable to you. The other part of relatable is content that's relatable to your audience. And it stops them in their scroll because you are relating directly to what they've been dealing with. So it's number 1, relatable to you. It's building a connection to you in that way. Relatable to your audience means it's specific to what they are going through in the moment. You may not be there, but if you create content that they relate to, that they understand that you get them, then that's relatable to them. So I hope you see the difference. It's a small difference, but it gives you a little bit more ideas, is my hope, when you're thinking about content. Is this going to be stuff that's about me, helps them relate to me? Or is this content that's about them and helps me relate to them? Okay. All right. So be human. That's your second takeaway. Number 3, create a blend of content. Now, here's what I mean. A common question that I hear is, how do I move people from the conversation to customer, from a follower to actually buying? And especially if I've just told you, focus on creating human content, then the question could easily be, Denise, if I'm creating content that's just human, content about my values, or even fun and engaging and entertaining content, how does that move them from having a conversation with me to becoming a customer? Well, here's what may or may not surprise you. It's never an all or nothing approach that's going to help you grow your equine business. We want to have a blend. So absolutely, that human content that's about you, connects to you, or about them, connecting directly to them, that matters. you can do that and still sell, okay? Because as an equine business, of course, you need to make content that's going to help you sell. So, this idea of creating content pillars is what can be very helpful in this process. It probably is not new to you. It may be, if you've not dug into social media strategy in a while, it may be. It's not privy to just me. A lot of marketing strategists encourage people to create content pillars. You may hear them called a bucket or categories, but essentially, you're going to think of 3 to 5 maximum, but 3 is a good starting point. Pillars of the types of content that you're going to create. Okay. And what I want for you, because you're a business, is that one of your pillars needs to be the ask or the sell. So maybe it's inviting them to get your free resource and get on your email list. Maybe it's to send you a message, to DM you to book a discovery call. Maybe it's listen to this episode if you also have a podcast. Maybe it's apply for my program. Whatever it is, those are all considered ask, okay? And so I want you to consider having one of your pillars to be an ask, because otherwise what sometimes happens is businesses think that every post needs to incorporate an ask. And that is not true, okay? That's not going to be effective long-term, because you're taking away part of that connection and human element, and you're not serving them before you sell to them, okay? So I don't want all of your pillars to include an ask for that reason, okay? So consider having one of your pillars be the ask, and the other 2 pillars or 3 or 4 pillars can help you figure out, are you going to be educational? Is it going to be content that's about you and telling your story and connecting with you? Is it going to be just fun and engaging content? Like, thinking of it that way and creating a blend of content is a really good way to help move people from connection to customer, from conversation to customer, okay? Because yes, connection is a felt need. It's important. And especially in this day and age, like connecting with a real human, as we talked about, matters. But if you only ever create content that focuses on connection, then you are not likely to see those people turn into customers. At some point, you're going to have to make the sell, okay? So thankfully, selling can meet a felt need as long as you're solving that real problem for your potentials and clients and customers, okay? So yes, I want you to sell. I want you to do it by creating a blend of content, keeping in mind what we just talked about in terms of being human and authentic. Okay, the last takeaway for you is to build relationships on social media. Remember, consumers in the report, I don't know if I read this stat for you earlier, but it said consumers say companies should make personalized customer service their number 1 social media priority. Okay. They're saying literally it is equally, if not more important than content creation when it comes to securing trust and driving sales for your business. And that applies for you in your horse business, regardless of the size. Whether it is you doing all of the work, or you have a virtual assistant, or you have a team member that is helping you, you've got to be building relationships on social media if you want to see it actually effectively help you to drive sales and grow your business. Okay. I've said it 100 times on this podcast, and it is still true. Social media was created to be social. Okay, there's still that felt need that we talked about. And that need is relationships. That need is people. It's connection. Now, we know, of course, we could do a whole separate deep dive into people that are on social media and are, we have social media and we are the most disconnected than we've been in a long time. That is true in many ways and can be true. But I will also tell you from a personal perspective, it can also be true that you can build connections on social media if you go in with that intention and that purpose. I have some great clients that I work with that I've worked with almost since day 1 of jumping into the horse business side of things with my business 5 years ago. And I still work with them. And we met through social media and we have a great relationship. So we can do that, but we have to go in with the intention. Okay. So as a business owner, as a marketer of your business, I know it can be tempting to create content and be done with it. I know some of you actually would tell me, Denise, I actually don't like social media. It really frustrates me. I don't enjoy it. And I understand that. I get that. And I would say I am actually not a marketer standing here talking to you saying, I love social media and I would be on it all day if I could. That's actually not the case. I get on because I know it is intentional to grow my business, to connect with you all, to serve you all, right? I go in with a purpose. I'm similar to you in that way. But here's the thing. If you approach it from the mindset, so this is where the mindset piece always comes back into play. If you approach it from the mindset of, I hate social media, you're not likely to come in and build those relationships that are going to turn into really great customers. But if you can approach social media from a different angle, if you can see it as an opportunity to build relationships, to serve people that actually do need what you have to offer, then your content creation will be different and you're going to stick around and have some of those conversations with people so that you can build relationships. Because the real fruit from your social media effort right now is going to come from what you do in between the content creation. So you created that reel, you created that carousel post, you created that video, but then what did you do in between? Have you been on there engaging in conversations? Have you been replying to every comment on your post that comes through? Have you been getting creative and personal in your replies? Are you saying the same thing to every person? Or are you caring for each follower because you understand they represent a human on the other side of the keyboard? Now, let me say this loud and clear. I'm not saying you need to live on social media all the time. From the time you create to the next creation point, you just need to always be there. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is you can be strategic with your time. You can set boundaries. You can set a system. You can set a timer if you need to, right? You can do it with intention of getting on there and actually getting fruit from your labor because you're building relationships with real people. And those real people are your potential clients and customers. Okay. Here's what I want you to know, guys. Marketing methods and tactics, they will always be evolving. So this podcast will always be needed. The reports will always be needed because things will change over time. But the core principles of what works is going to remain. So the question becomes, how do you know how to take what is working, what has changed, what's not working, and turn that into a marketing plan and strategy for your equine business? That is where personalized support comes in. Because rather than staring at your phone, trying to figure out what in the world to create, what to put in that email newsletter that's going to actually help you build your business, how to write the words for your website, or even how to launch your new product or service, or how to start taking marketing seriously for the first time in your equine business, that is where personalized support comes in. And that's what we tackle together in my coaching program. So inside of Take the Reins, it is my 6-month one-on-one coaching program. I help equestrian entrepreneurs like you that are growth-minded, yet mindful that success is subjective. In other words, my coaching clients understand there is not a one-size-fits-all approach to building the equine business that meets your version of success because it is yours. But there are some common pillars that every entrepreneur, every business owner needs in place in order to market your equine business in a way that is sustainable for you. That ebbs and flows regardless of how social media changes. You have some things in place. And that's what we do in Take the Reins. In our 6 months together, you will craft a cohesive plan for your social media, your website, and your email marketing so that you can ditch the overwhelm for good and finally build an equine business that meets your version of success. Now, due to the personal nature of a one-to-one coaching experience, we can address what's keeping you stuck as well. Some of these marketing mindsets and distractions that we've talked about on the podcast recently, we address those because they relate to growing and marketing your equine business. So we do tackle mindset, we do tackle strategy, we do tackle methods because all of those things matter. And the beauty of a one-on-one coaching program is that we can do it in a way that meets you where you are in your business. So if that sounds intriguing to you, if you're saying, Denise, that's exactly what I'm needing right now, I would invite you to apply for Take the Reins. We are currently, or I should say, it's just me right now, but I am booking our final 2025 session. We started out with 8 slots, again, because it is personalized one-on-one calls, that it's a limited amount because I have a limited amount of time. So we had 8 slots available. We now have 6 slots available. I would love to work with you and help you to get clarity in your business so that you can be confident. When we have clarity, what follows is confidence. And so I know many of you have not been feeling confident when it comes to marketing your business. And so that's what we can get for you inside of Take the Reins. So if you go to stormlily.com/reins, you will get all the information there about the program. You will see who it's for and who it's not, what's included, what are the outcomes, and go ahead and apply. And then from there, we can get on a call and talk about your goals, make sure it's an awesome fit, and then get started so we can get you set up as we amazingly gear to head into the final quarter of 2025 and start 2026. So we'll get to work together in both of those if you start now. So head to stormlily.com/reins, get all of that information, get in there and apply so we can work together. All right, friends, I hope that either way, what you've learned here on the podcast, you will start applying in your business. So evaluate when you create on social media, put some energy into it, build those connections, build those relationships. And I know when you do, you're going to see fruit from your labor. Thanks so much for joining me here today, guys. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you back here soon for another new episode.